Really? Really? I guess the Washington Post is trying to save this dying business. I think Joy Reid was on vacation last week. The week before, though, she was doing her absolute best to revive the business of mythical racism. While boy Joy was vacationing down south last week with her husband Lucifer, experiencing the luxury of the best all-inclusive resort that hell has to offer, the Washington Post, they stepped in during her absence in an attempt to revive the business of mythical racism. Have you guys noticed that we barely hear about this anymore? Rarely do we see headlines from Jamel Hill. Does Smelly Jameli even have a job right now? I'm assuming that she was dropped from her publishing company after her book sold a cool 5,000 copies in 6 months. Even though she's on MSNBC in primetime every night, we hardly ever hear anything from Joy Reid anymore. The mainstream media, they used to be mesmerized by Joy and her ability to drive her climate-friendly broom around the studio. We never see these emotional breakdowns anymore from Shannon Sharpe. Hey, it's me, Shay Shay. It's been a while since Shannon Sharpe has accused the NFL of mythical racism because he thinks they don't have enough black head coaches. What was once a multi-million-dollar mainstream business has been essentially forced into bankruptcy. But that's okay. That's okay. The brilliant minds at the Washington Post, they are here to save the business. How many of you guys have ever heard of Emily Yar? I had never heard of her until this afternoon. I'm assuming most of you guys have no idea who she is either, so let me go ahead and put a face with the name. Check out this beautiful young lady right here for yourself. My inside sources tell me Emily might be an upcoming contestant in the Miss America pageant. She'll be sharing the stage with other classic American beauties like Leah Thomas and Dylan Mulvaney. I am sure Target will be the primary provider of the tuck-friendly bathing suits. Emily Yar, though, she is the pop culture and entertainment reporter for the Washington Post. So I was kind of confused as to why she would be covering this particular story since country music is neither pop culture or entertaining. I'm sure there are some of you guys who enjoy listening to country music, but for me, it's just never been my thing. But anyway, over the last couple of months, something has been going on in country music that has bothered Emily Yar. It's been keeping her up at night. It's been painful. It's been agonizing. Luke Combs, he released a cover of a classic Tracy Chapman song titled Fast Car. Now, the song was not intended to be released as a single for his latest album, but when the album was released, the cover of Fast Car was more popular than the single. Well, KC, what was the single that he released? I have no idea. It was probably about patrolling through a dirt road, fighting crime with McGruff the Crime Dog, which is why his Tracy Chapman cover was more popular. You may also be wondering, what the hell's the big deal about this? Music artists, they cover songs from other artists all the time. Hell, the entire industry of rap music was built on sampling beats from other artists. Well, I'll tell you what the big deal is, but first, let me get to the sponsor for today's video, Ultimate Flags. For some reason over the last few years, flags have become extremely triggering to parishioners at Woke United Methodist. If they happen to see a flag while riding their climate-friendly Schwinn down the street, they fly into a fit of rage, ripping the flag out of the ground. As a result, a lot of these flag companies, they become hesitant with their production of flags. They're afraid to produce certain flags over the fear of backlash. But notice I said many companies are hesitant. I didn't say all. Ultimate Flags is one of the only flag producers left that's not afraid to stand against the woke bullshit. This nice American flag that you see propped up on the shelf behind me, made by Ultimate Flags here in America. But it's not just American flags they have to offer. They have over 10,000 other options available. Here's one of my favorites right here. I'm not sure if this was their intent, but it's kind of a play on the pride flag. You know, the pride flag, also known as the rainbow flag. Ultimate Flags, they took that concept and made it into something that honors our first responders. Ultimate Flags is America's oldest online flag store for lovers of patriots, pride, and freedom. And I'm talking about American Pride, not the other Pride. Right now, they're offering a sale where you can buy 2 flags and get your third one for free. Place your first order today by clicking the link in the description below or heading over to ultimateflags.com. All right, Luke Combs, he releases a cover of a classic song from Tracy Chapman. Song ends up topping the country music charts. Story's got a happy ending, right? There's a huge problem here. A serious violation of the woke commandments. According to the Washington Post, this song is in violation of the first woke commandment. Thou shalt not commit mythical racism. You see, this song represents everything wrong with America. A white man stealing a song from a black woman who just so happens to identify as the L in LGBT. According to the Washington Post, many executives in Nashville, they are deeply, deeply concerned about the success of this song. We have been trying to promote inclusivity. We have been trying to make country music diverse. And now our most popular artist is stealing the work of a lesbian black female. The shitfucks look at country music the same way they look at the NHL. It's a business dominated by white people. Therefore, it's a business that's inherently racist. In order to prove the mythical racism in the country music industry, the Washington Post, they relied on a study from the Black Opry. Casey, what the hell's the Black Opry? The group was founded by someone named Holly G. And no, that is not one of those nicknames that I come up with here on the channel. I looked up their website to find the founder of the organization. Black Opry claims they were founded by someone named Holly G. She told the Washington Post that she refuses to publicize her last name because she's afraid of being targeted by the evil white man. When I first saw it, I thought she used the G to show her status amongst the LGBT. But according to a recent study, less than 1% of the songs played on country radio stations across America last year were by women of color or LGBT artists. No shit? I would imagine if you conducted the same study on rap stations, you would find that the overwhelming majority of songs played on the radio featured black artists. Music is not about race. Some genres of music are dominated by white people, other genres are dominated by black people. If you go into a Burger King, you're not likely to hear workout music, you're probably going to get a double dose of Lizzo. If you're living down by the southern border and you turn on a Mexican radio station, guess what you're gonna hear? Mexican music. Most of the artists on the station are going to be Hispanic. They're not going to be playing music from artists in Tokyo. What I find ironic here is that a white woman from the Washington Post is accusing Luke Combs of hijacking a classic song from Tracy Chapman and claiming it proves mythical racism in country music, all while she is hijacking the cause of mythical racism. I don't understand why Emily Yar is so upset by this. I mean, Tracy Chapman's not. She just cashed a $500,000 check. This entire article, Emily Yar tries to portray Tracy Chapman as the ultimate victim. She claims that because Luke Combs' version charted higher, it proves that America is more accepting of music when it comes from a white man instead of a lesbian black female. Conveniently, she fails to mention the success Tracy Chapman had with the song in the late 1980s. She also fails to mention that her debut album sold 13 million copies, most of which were bought by white people. But KC, she's right. Tracy Chapman didn't top the country music charts. Yeah, you want to know why? Tracy Chapman ain't a country singer. Luke Combs hasn't topped the rap charts. Does that mean that rap music is racist? No, it means Luke Combs isn't a fucking rapper. Something else the Washington Post conveniently overlooked was how often black artists have covered songs from white artists, or, as the Washington Post would call it, stolen songs. One of the songs that Whitney Houston is most famous for is I Will Always Love You. The song has become so synonymous with Whitney Houston that most people my age think it belongs to her, when it was originally recorded by Dolly Parton. Oh, the racism. Back in the 1980s, Ike and Tina Turner released Proud Mary, a song that was originally recorded by Creedence Clearwater Revival, whoever the hell that is. Jay-Z, He has been performing Wonderwall for years at his concerts, a song that was originally released by Oasis in 1995. Hell, like I said earlier, the entire industry of rap music was built on sampling songs from other artists. White artists, black artists. The music industry in general is a copycat business. There's nothing racist about it. The supply of mythical racism has gotten so low that the Washington Post is literally fabricating stories to keep the business alive. The mainstream media, they tried this same thing a couple of weeks ago when the Supreme Court overturned affirmative action. Had that happened 2, maybe 3 years ago, that story would have remained in the news cycle for weeks, maybe even months. When it happens today, it barely makes it through a full week. There's a reason for that. The vast majority of Americans are no longer buying into the myth of mythical racism. I noticed another glaring omission in this report from the Washington Post. The study that they referenced that supposedly proved racism in country music, the study only focused on black LGBT females. I wonder why. I wonder if it's because country music has opened its arms to black artists. Nelly, Ludacris, Darius Rucker from Hootie and his Blowfish, Aaron Neville. The Washington Post only wanted to focus on black lesbian country singers. How come they didn't focus on the same thing in rap music? How many lesbian white rappers do you hear on the radio? Let's take it a step further. How many transgender white rappers do you hear on Shade 4-5? None. Guess that means there's extreme bias in rap music? Give me your thoughts on this bullshit. The Washington Post tries to make the case that country music is inherently racist because Luke Combs covered a classic song by Tracy Chapman and it hit #1 on the country music charts. Seems absolutely absurd to me, but you let me know your thoughts. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.